Have you ever asked how to manage rental properties from out of state? I mean, can you actually own properties in a state where you don't live, have them run effectively, make money, and not have things blow up while you're not there? Let's find out. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 4 things you need to know if you're going to own property out of state and make sure it's managed effectively. And just as a word of encouragement, I own hundreds of units and none of them are where I live. I only own my primary residence in the area where I live. And I'm telling you, you can grow a portfolio where you never live if you do exactly what I tell you to do in this video. But stick around to the end because I have a free gift for tuning in today. I know it can be scary if you think about buying a property in a place where you don't live. Here's why I believe everybody should own properties where they don't live. Because if you limit the properties you buy to the city you live in, you're shutting yourself off to most of the opportunities in the country and even the world. I want you to start expanding your mind to owning properties in the markets that are best for the strategy of real estate you're going into. But if you're going to own properties from out of state, you got to change what's upstairs because your mind is literally the ceiling to this concept. If you can't get past the idea that you're not driving past the property looking at it, you'll never be able to bust through that fear and actually get to the value of owning properties anywhere and you still being able to sit on the beach. The very first thing you need to do if you want to own properties out of state is you need to hire a third-party property manager. A third-party property management company is simply somebody who does all the work to make sure the property runs well. That means they are going to collect rent, they're going to deal with tenants that aren't paying on time. When a tenant moves out, they're going to clean the unit and they're going to find a new tenant to move in. They're going to make sure the repairs are done on time and tenants are happy because our tenants pay our bills. We want to make sure they're taken care of with the utmost respect and care because they're the most valuable person in our business. So our property managers make sure they show love to our tenants and make sure they're taken care of. A third-party property management company is a valuable piece to your team, and I would say you will never be able to manage properties out of state without having a really good management company that can take care of the property when you're not there. As a side note to hiring a third-party property management company, if you have a building that's 100 units or more, you can actually hire a full-time person, give them one of the units that they live in, and they can manage that property full-time. Usually above 100 units, there's enough revenue in the property to cover a full-time person that does nothing but focus on that asset. But please do yourself a favor, never own properties out of state without hiring a property manager that's going to do their job so you can live free. The second thing you want to know about owning properties out of state with that property manager is make sure you hire an entrepreneurial property manager. There's property management companies that really think like businesses, and there's property management companies that think like property managers. I want you to pick the entrepreneurial ones because they're going to not only think about the units you have, they're going to continue to think about how to help you grow that portfolio within town when you're not there. I like to work with companies that are big enough to take the workload of my properties, but also small enough that really give me the customer care in which I require in order to run properties efficiently. I like to look for property management companies in the 2 to 500 unit range, meaning they're managing 2 to 500 units so that they have systems already in place, but they're also small enough where I can literally text or call that owner at any time. Entrepreneurial property managers of that size are still in the business building mode, so they take care of their owners with utmost care because their owners are their lifeline. That's their business. So when you pick a property management company that's at that range, they're going to treat you much more like a valuable asset to their company. If you come to a company that's managing 4,000 or 5,000 units, you may simply be one person in a sea of many, where a smaller entrepreneurial business is going to treat you much better and really treat you with the care you're looking for. Not only will they treat your properties like their own, they'll also help you acquire more properties. My property manager manages about 300 to 400 units, and she called me the other day with an asset that one of her other owners were looking to sell and wanted to know if I wanted to buy. See, when you have a smaller company like that, you can build a relationship with the owner, and they often will give you leads so you can continue to grow your portfolio. If you're one person in a sea of 5,000 units, the owner is probably already has people he's pushing deals to, and it's a little harder to become that first person on that speed dial. When you communicate with your property managers regularly, you also stay top of mind. We call that TOMA, T-O-M-A, top of mind awareness. The reason you want to stay top of mind is so they continue to inject care and love into your properties. But the rule of thumb for me is I want to talk to my property managers once a week until the property is stabilized and earning good revenue, and then I can move it to once every other week and then once a month. I have one batch of properties that I've owned for quite a while. I might talk to my property manager once a month, if that, because we've brought the properties to health. We've owned the properties for a long time, and he does a really good job managing them. There's no reason for me to check in because I know he's doing a good job. So I will say to you, check in with your property managers once a week to start, or maybe even more if that fits your comfort level. But as you scale that property to stability and it's making good revenue, you can scale that down and enjoy more freedom. Make sure you stick around to the end because I have a bonus tip for owning properties out of state that you're going to want to know. And it's a person on your team most people never think to leverage when owning properties from out of town. Stick to the end and you'll get it. The third thing you want to make sure of when you're owning properties out of state is that that property manager you're hiring has in-house contractors or really good connections to awesome contractors that can fix your properties when they need it. One of the key people you need on your team is contractors. You need contractors that can fix leaky roofs, broken doors, windows that break, and anything in between. But a lot of us, if we're out of town, we may not know great contractors in that city, so we need a connection to them. The good news is most property management companies in the size that I mentioned are going to have in-house maintenance teams that you can leverage. However, they're not going to have in-house contractors for every big project. So if you need a huge overhaul on a unit and you need to redo major structural work or major roofs, they're probably going to need to go outside their company to hire a contractor. But the good news for you is property managers that are doing a good job, they have those connections, they know who to call, and you still don't have to worry about it. You're still only connecting with one person, which is that property manager, and they're connecting with everybody else you need in order to manage that property well. A poor contractor can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. The first way is lost rental time. For example, if a contractor takes longer to fix up the unit, every day they take longer than it should take is a day you can't rent that property out and it's costing you money. So what I like to do is take how much I charge a month in rent and divide that by the days of that month, and that's how much money I'm losing every single day a tenant's not in that place. And you can mitigate that as long as you have a great manager that knows those contractors and can make a phone call to get them there quickly and to manage their process and progress to make sure they get it done fast. A poor contractor can also double the amount of work you needed to do when you started because they can do work and then you actually have to redo the work. This happened to me recently. I had $10,000 worth of work done to a unit. It was a poor contractor and we had to hire a new contractor to come in and fix it, and it was a big mistake in hiring a poor contractor because we had to redo all the work that they did. So not only did I have to pay the $10,000 once, I had to pay the $10,000 twice in order to get a tenant in there. And that's what I don't want you to have to do. A good manager will mitigate that process and make sure that doesn't happen. The reason this happened to us is we were testing out some new contractors in the area, and we found one we shouldn't use again. Before we go on to the last tip and that bonus tip, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on that bell notification so you get notified every single weekday when we put out a brand new video. Also, smash that thumbs up button. Obliterate it so we can continue to get this content to more people because we love helping investors just like you. The fourth thing you want to do if you own properties out of state is work with a really good real estate agent or broker in the same kind of assets you're buying. If you're buying single family homes, find a really good real estate agent that understands how to find the single family homes that you're looking for. If you're looking for commercial property, work with a broker that specializes in commercial property. If you're starting to own properties out of state in a certain city, you want to own properties there and own as many as you can there. And the only way you're going to continue to acquire properties is if you continue to get leads from people like real estate brokers. So working with a really good investor-friendly broker is huge to growing your portfolio to that next level. My broker and I talk nearly every day about deals we're working on. He's working on leasing some of our commercial space out. He's working on some deals that we're trying to acquire. He's working on some deals that we're thinking about maybe even selling. He's working on deals all over the place. The truth of the matter is, we talk almost every day because we're always working on either buying a property, selling a property, or leasing a property. So a broker is a huge person on your team that can continue your portfolio forward. But the other powerful thing about a broker is they have what we call napkin or pocket listings. Napkin or pocket listings are listings they literally have in their pocket. It's the idea that they have listings that aren't on the market yet. They know of a seller that may want to sell, but nobody else knows about them. I'm currently looking at a 72-unit building that a broker sent me. Literally, I'm the only person that knows this property is for sale. That's because I work with a really good investor-friendly broker, knows the kind of properties I'm looking for, and they can shoot those properties to me right away. Oh, and by the way, this is in a city I don't live in. I told you if you stuck around, I'd give you a bonus tip. Well, one of the people on your team that most people don't think about is a local bank lender. My local lender in the cities that I buy in are paramount to my success. Not only do they loan on the properties that I am buying, but they also know tons of other investors. They're loaning to investors all the time. They know who's buying properties. They know who's selling properties. They know who's looking for more properties. Lenders are key pieces to your team, and a lot of people don't think to build a relationship with a local lender. Because if you're going to buy a property in an area, of course you're going to want to leverage them for that loan. But remember, they have a lot more connections than just lending. I also want to give you a free gift for tuning in today. I want to give you our free multifamily masterclass. If you click the link in the description, you'll be taken to my free 60-minute training that walks you through the 5 things you need to know and do to get a piece of multifamily in the next 71 days. I can't wait to see you in the training.